the brain. Dwayne Gravelin was a NASA astronaut. He was also a physician. And one day he came home from NASA, drove up to his house, and there was a woman standing outside his house that he didn't recognize. And he got out of his car, he looked at her, and she looked at him. She said, "Dwayne, I'm your wife." He realized his memory had been totally erased. They get into the car, they go to the emergency room, and eventually the clouds sort of parted. He got his memory back. He was trying to think, what could this be? He was a healthy guy. The only thing was he had started a prescription for a cholesterol-lowering drug about 6 weeks earlier. Could that have been it? He stopped the drug, and his memory was fine. But about a month later, his cholesterol was back up. So he started the medicine again at half the dose. And within 6 weeks, his memory was erased again. He couldn't remember anything after junior high. And since that time, there have been hundreds of cases of people who have had cognitive problems from cholesterol-lowering drugs, including people who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease that got better when they stopped the medication. Now, this side effect is rare, we believe. But the problem is nobody's really tracking carefully how many people might have memory problems linked to these medicines. And that really put doctors in a spot because cholesterol-lowering drugs have been very effective at lowering cholesterol, and that can be life-saving. But they do have occasional side effects. So, of course, we always want to start with the natural ways to reduce cholesterol based on the foods that you choose. Now, sometimes drugs interact with foods. Did you know that grapefruit and grapefruit juice, if you have them along with your medicines, it interferes with the liver's ability to remove the medicine. So the medicine stays in your bloodstream for a longer period of time, and it has a heightened effect. By the way, if you're taking medicines, always work with your doctor. Don't start medicines or stop them on your own. Cholesterol-lowering drugs, though, are not the only ones that you need to think about. If you ever had a colonoscopy, you went into the hospital, you had the procedure, you go out of the hospital and your loved one picks you up and you get in the car and they say, "Honey, how was it?" And you say, "As a matter of fact, I don't remember anything. I remember walking in the hospital. That's the last thing I remember." The reason that you don't remember is while you were on the examination table, they gave you a drug through the IV called midazolam, and it wipes out your memory during the whole procedure. Now, for some people, that's an advantage. It's a calming drug, and many people don't really want to remember these things. On the other hand, some people might object to having their memory completely wiped out. This drug is used absolutely routinely for many different procedures. So you can talk with your medical team about whether you want it. Sleeping pills, they can affect your memory. I met a man who woke up one morning. He found his kitchen table all piled high with groceries. What had happened, he had taken a sleeping pill the night before. About an hour later, he got up from bed, found his car keys, got into the car, drove to the grocery store, had a big party, went home, brought all the food home, collapsed back in bed, got up in the morning. What's all this? He had no memory of it, and the most common sleeping pills will toy with your memory. Be careful about that. The point is that medicines can affect the brain. Antidepressants, antihistamines that are used for allergies, and many other medicines can affect your memory. Now, medicines are life-saving and sometimes they're essential, but when anybody has a memory problem, the first thing that I want to look at is what's in the medicine cabinet. Could the medications be the cause? Now, there are also medical conditions that can be a problem too. If a person has depression, you know that can affect your appetite, it can affect your sleep, but it can also affect your energy level, it can affect your brain. It can affect your ability to remember. And there are natural ways to improve your mood, and we want to start there. Exercise and diet changes, they're good for starters. But thyroid problems, infections, migraine headaches, all of these things can play with your memory. And people who have had chemotherapy, they often complain of what they call chemo brain, where they feel really fuzzy and they're having trouble with their memory. And an interesting thing has come out in recent years. Have you heard about wheat gluten? Gluten is the protein in wheat. It's healthy. It's a good source of protein. It's in wheat, it's in barley, it's in rye. But about maybe 1 in 10 people has trouble digesting it, and they also discover they get mentally fuzzy. And for years, they don't know what the cause is, and getting away from these foods allows them to see if they feel better again. Again, 90% of people, this is not a problem. They don't need to avoid it. They don't need to go to the store and get gluten-free product. But for about 1 in 10 people, it is. So remember our 3 steps. Skip the bad fats, knock out the free radicals, watch for iron and copper, boost the vitamin E. Don't forget the antioxidants. You remember those anthocyanins in the grapes and the blueberries? Those are your best friends. And number 3, we want to exercise our brain. Now we can make our own choices. Food is the most powerful, the most critical contributor to good health, and it's easy to put to work, but it makes an enormous difference. So as you put the power of foods and healthy lifestyle to work, I not only hope that you benefit, but I hope that everybody you love benefits too. And isn't it true? Most of us wait too long. We wait too long to improve our diets. And if you think about your families, if you think about your loved ones, within all of our bodies are chemical changes that can rob us of what's most important in our lives. But the choices that we're making now, over the long run, they'll either lead toward illness and disability and losing everything that's important to us, or they can lead toward keeping us strong and healthy throughout our lives, keeping us productive, keeping our families happy and healthy, so that what matters most is something that we don't have to sacrifice later in life. Life is short. Don't lose a minute of it. Keep the connections alive. It's easy. It's essential. You know you can do it. You know it's worth it. Protect your memory so that you really can protect what's most important to you. Thank you.
The Salad Master cooking system allows for cooking on low temperature settings and without added water and oil. This method of cooking helps protect the natural nutrients, flavor, texture, and color in food throughout the cooking process. Information is available at saladmaster.com.